Western series Gunsmoke makes its debut on CBS TV network. Little Richard's Tutti Frutti is released, and Brooklyn Dodgers win World Series, defeating New York Yankees 2-0 in Game 7 of the Fall Classic. The year is 1955, and this was the last year for Kaiser to sell cars here in the States. But before getting into this one, I'm your host, Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that digs the finer cars in life. Back when cars were made of steel, not plastic. We cover the classics, vintage, some exotics. We do mostly cars before 1980, some newer cars than that. Engine episodes peppered in, and company histories. If any of that sounds of interest to you, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. 1955 Kaiser model lineup. But before getting into all of that, Kaiser, for those that may have never even heard of this American car brand, was formed right after World War II by industrialist Henry J. Kaiser, who made his fortune in industry. His company was one of the main companies to build the Hoover Dam. After conquering building ships, both Liberty and Victory ships, during World War II at an unbelievable rate, they made a record for building ships. The SS Robert E. Perry holds the record for the fastest Liberty ship ever built. It was built in 4 days, 15 hours, 29 minutes. On November 12th of 1942. They couldn't paint a ship now in that amount of time. And what I'm getting at is Henry J. Kaiser liked to get shit done. Everything that man touched up until this point turned to gold. So he figured it was time for him to get into the automotive business and build the perfect car for the working class. Henry J. Kaiser would partner with Joseph Frazier, who was president of Graham Page, because Henry J. knew that you needed a ton of money and market know-how to make it in the automotive business. Henry J. also knew that the automotive business was a very cutthroat business, and he had no expertise in that realm. That's also another major reason he partnered with Joseph Frazier. Not only was he the president of Graham Page, he was also an executive member of various other companies like Chrysler and Willis. The original plan was to offer two cars. The Frazier was to be the more upscale model. The Kaiser was to have front-wheel drive, but they couldn't get all the kinks worked out of it when it was time to release the cars. The Kaiser and the Frazier looked very similar when they came to market. The big three were still making pre-war models, just facelifted. So if you wanted a brand new car in the post-war car market, Kaiser Frazier, along with Studebaker, were the only games in town, and Crosley to a certain extent, but those cars were tiny. Henry J. Kaiser and Joseph Frazier would have a bunch of disagreements over production, which stemmed back to an incident that happened in 1949 where Kaiser was building so many cars that they just couldn't sell them all. That, coupled with other money concerns, Joseph Frazier would ultimately leave the company around 1950. Frazier cars would be produced from 1946 for the 1947 model year through 1951. Only about 10,000 cars were made with Frazier's name on them. Kaiser would soldier on, acquiring Willis Overland, yes, it's pronounced Willis, not Willys, in 1953 for $63,381,175. Kaiser saw the promise in the Jeep brand. The company would be renamed Kaiser Willis. Which brings us to 1955. Kaiser model lineup was broken down. Special and Manhattan, with some conflicting information around the Darren. Some sources say that some 54 models were reassigned as 55, or just sold as 55 models, but it's conflicting information. Kaiser would offer the Manhattan from 1952 through 1955. It's important to note that the Manhattan was originally a Frazier offering before 1952, being offered in Frazier from 1947 through 1951. So essentially, it was a staple for the Kaiser Corporation, the Manhattan was, being offered every single year that Kaiser was in business. 1955 was the last year for Kaiser car production here in the States, but the tooling would be sold to IKA and was built in Argentina from 1958 through 1962. Also interesting to point out is that Kaiser would exit the market without ever producing a V8 engine. It's important to note that they did make one in prototype form, but they were just hemorrhaging so much money that they could not bring it to market. The Manhattan could be had as a four-door sedan or two-door club sedan. The 1955 Manhattan, according to the 1946 through 1975 standard catalog of American cars, the 55 is more or less a carryover of the 1954 Manhattan with only a few minor differences, being the height of the fin that comes off the hood scoop in the front is slightly taller on the 55 than the 54, and there were two small side fins also added. While on the topic of comparisons, let's compare 53 on top versus 55 Kaiser Manhattan on the bottom, starting in the front. As you can see, the overall shape of this car is pretty much the same between these two. Look at the roof profile and the windshield profile. The windshields on these are very interesting. It's a very big, very tall piece of glass. It's almost like sitting in a Tesla Model X, maybe not quite that extreme, but the visibility out of the windshield is really great for a car from this era. I know you can't really see it that well on the 55 because of the sun visor, but trust me, it has the same windshield profile. The front fascia between these two cars is totally different. The headlights are different, as well as turn signal indicators are roughly in the same spot-ish, but designed differently. They're circular on the 55 versus rectangular on the 52. The bumper situation and grills are different, as well as hood profile. The 53 has more of a hood nose bulge, whereas the 55 looks cleaner in that regard. Moving to the side profile. Looking at the side profile between these two cars, they look very similar from the side. Everything from the roof profile, which is different, but we'll get to that in a minute. But from this angle, it looks the same. Like, look at the doors. Both have front and rear vent windows. It looks like the rear door might be a little bit changed on the 55, but it might be this angle too. It might be the angle of the shot. Both of these cars have the rocker molding and or rocker trim, that very thick, bright trim that goes down the rocker of the car, which really sets this car off. Both the gas cylinders are in the same location. The top image is just flipped. Moving to the rear, brake lights are different between these two. The bumpers look to be about the same. The overrider bar is different though, as well as bumperettes. The trunk profile is different. I absolutely love the brake lights on the 55. I love the fact that they extend up the back of the car. It looks really cool. On the 52, it's just bright work added to maybe simulate fins. Take a gander at that rear back glass, three-piece back glass on the 55 versus what looks to be a single-piece back glass on the 52. The 55, that back glass is absolutely massive, and it curves. And the roof, notice how the roof is cut down to take up more glass space to give you more visibility on the 55. That's the major difference between these two from the back and the brake lights, of course. Jumping inside to take a quick gander at the dash and interior situation, which are both very similar to one another, but different in the same regard. Which one do you like better? Let's talk specs. 211 inches long, 74 inches wide. It rides a wheelbase of 118.5 inches. It weighs around 3,550 pounds. Price, $2,675, which would be equivalent to you spending $32,337.16 in the year 2025. Total 1955 Kaiser was 1,231 units. Moving on to engine. Only one engine on offer for the Manhattan, and that was the 226 cubic inch displacement, supercharged, inline flathead 6, 3.7 liters. It was good for 140 horsepower at 3,900 RPM, 210 pound-feet or 285 newton meters around 1,800 RPM, with a bore of 3 5/16 inches and a stroke of 4 3/8 inches. Compression was 7.3 to 1, 4 main bearings, solid valve lifters. When backed with a 3-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had in 13.5 seconds. Theoretical top speed of 88 miles per hour while achieving an average of anywhere between 14 to 16 miles to the gallon. Options. Not getting into all of the options, but here are a few. Power brakes, power steering, air conditioning, 8-tube radio, heater, easy eye tinted glass, leather upholstery, pin cushion vinyl trim, wire wheel covers, overdrive transmission, automatic transmission. Final gear ratios were also offered in 3.91, 3.31, 4.55, and 4.10. I found this car on Facebook Marketplace, and it's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. I will link the link in the description. When the car sells, I will take the link down. Here is the owner to talk more about this particular car.
My name is Tyler Evans, and I am the owner of this Kaiser. I want to talk about the rarity of this car. This car, everybody thinks the Darren is the rare car. Anybody would look at it and go, put them side by side, and they'll be like, it's got to be the Darren. This is twice as rare. With the Darren having like 400 something made, there's a 226 made. There was 44 two-doors of this made, and this car has a very, very just long story to it. This is actually, in my opinion, one of the most important Kaisers there is because of the history it has. This is the main Kaiser affiliated with the Kaiser group. The original owner, Paul Barker, he bought this car. He was the original owner, and he decided to begin the journey of the Kaiser, the group. So he made a group sometime around, I think there's 80s or 90s, are gathering members, and he had 2 sons, Larry and Alan. They both, to this day, love this Kaiser. They're alive. They know about this Kaiser. Larry carried on legacy after Paul died. I don't know, I'm not sure when he died. I think around the 80s or 90s. This is when this car was abandoned for some time. It was left abandoned for 20 years in a barn in Middlefield, around that area. And they, to this day, Larry goes ahead and he has 7 of the 1955 Kaisers. It is believed today there's 120 of these documented. The others, they don't know what happened. They can be crushed, they can be accident cars, they can be left rotting in the woods. And then it's believed there's only about 60 left driving and running condition. And this car has a lot more story to it. This is an Arizona car. Everybody turns heads wherever it goes. They're in shock of seeing this kind of car, because especially the older folk, because they always wanted to see one. I just took this thing to a car show about a week and a half ago, and I've had about 100 people come over here talking to me about this car. They always told me that their family had a 52 or a 53, but nobody said they can see a 55, so they took the time to appreciate it. Some people documented it. They would come over there with their cameras, just documenting this car, asking questions, taking every single bit of time possible just to understand how rare this car is and how they'll probably never see one again. But yeah, that's the story of the Kaiser.
Let's talk styling on this car. Notice the headlights, how they sit recessed. This beautiful bright bezel that comes around it. There's also a mock grille. Notice it's just painted. It almost feels like there's a piece of glass or plexiglass over top of the grille. You got turn signal indicators down below. Bumpers have these aprons that come up. Just look at the side profile. Bumperettes and or overriders, fog lights and or accessory lights. So notice how this has this apron here so you don't see that the bumpers are connected to. But moreover than that, look at how it kind of scoops down for this. It's 2 different pieces, is what I'm getting at. Beautiful grille. Almost looks like a crest of a wave. coming at you. But also notice it kind of sort of floats because of the apron situation. It's not connected down here. There's a negative space. Got Kaiser right here on the front. The hood has a center line going up towards this hood scoop. The hood scoop also acts as the hood ornament. It's ever so slightly creased, going back towards the single piece windshield with windshield wipers that come together. The hood has a lot of nice lines in it. Just gonna back up so you can see how everything ties together. Fenders protrude out, flared ever so slightly before they kind of roll back in. This one's got beautiful wire wheels. Kaiser Manhattan on the fender. There is not a cowl vent. It does have a really nice sun visor. Notice the bright that goes around it. Side mirrors would be mounted to the fender itself. Take a look at all of this bright work and detail. This car has the rain deflectors as well as drip rails, which they start right here and they run the length of the cabin. Rear rain deflectors. There are vent windows in the front as well as vent windows in the back, which are a super classy feature. I love this bright rocker trim and or rocker molding. It goes back into this. I don't know if that would be considered, I guess not. I guess this doesn't have fender skirts, but it looks like it has a fender skirt, but it's not. Massive wraparound back glass. Notice it's 3 pieces and curved. The brake lights are really nice on this car. Gas filler location is on the driver's side. Notice it has a keyhole so you can lock it. It's really cool design. This one's got backup lights. The rear bumpers are totally different than the ones in the front. This overrider bar connected to the bumperettes. Kaiser badge is flipped. It's on the passenger side as opposed to the driver's side in the front, on the front. Coming up and getting inside, but before we do, just take a gander at this door handle. It's very similar to what Chrysler has later on in the 50s. The only difference is this part here doesn't have as much of a hook on the Chrysler version. Ford also did a handle like this. This door has a nice quality feel to it. A lot of heft. It's all trimmed out, or all framed out I should say, because it's a 4-door sedan. But just notice how thick that frame is. This one's got 2-tone color inside. I'm not entirely sure what this material is. It's like a cross between cloth and vinyl. But you got the armrest, door handle to pull the door shut, door handle to get out, window crank for the big window, which operates like this. vent window. Notice all of the detail in the vent window handle. Just take a look at how this chassis is. You don't step up, down, or anything. It's just kind of straight across. The transmission tunnel isn't that big, all things considered. I mean, it's wide, but it doesn't go up very far from the floor. Coming down inside the pedal box down here, you have the high beam switch on the floor, brake pedal, gas pedal, hood release, aftermarket gauges for oil pressure and amp meter. Just take a gander at this interior. Nice quality sounding shot. Here is what over the hood looks like. Here's what first person over the hood would look like. On to the button switches and knobs, starting on the left and moving right. Windshield wipers, fan blower motor, headlights, defroster, left air vent, right air vent, drive modes read neutral, drive, intermediate, low, and reverse. Gasoline gauge, 120 mile per hour speedometer, coolant temperature, key, lighter, AM radio, clock. Up above there are sun visors. Here's what they are. There's another sun visor over there for the passenger. There's a rear view mirror and center with daytime nighttime feature. I just want to take a minute and just explain or just show you how much space there is up front here. It's very spacious because of the way the dashboard's designed. The dashboard's way up here. Like, I'm reaching out. I have really long arms and I can't touch it unless I lean forward. Steering wheel is not in my lap whatsoever. It's a nice quality feeling steering wheel. I love the way that steering wheel looks with the over the hood impression. The over the hood impression is really nice in this car. The windshield has almost a heart-like shape. Comes like, just look at how it curves, and then it comes to a point here in the center, almost a point. Visibility is great. Absolutely excellent in this car. Curves, the A-pillar is not very big, so there isn't that much of a blind spot there. And looking around, that's what visibility it looks like out the back from the back. Yes, this is what visibility looks like out the back window from the front seat. Just to give you an idea of what the greenhouse looks like. There aren't that many blind spots. It's really nice in here. On to the glove box test. Here's our test subject. Here is my hand for reference. Just showing you how massive this camera is. Pretty big. 7.5 inch hand. Big camera. Here is the glove box in question. Yeah, it's getting stuck on the hot shoe. It would fit in there. I'm just afraid that I don't want to lose my camera in that glove box, but it's, I would say, plausible. It's a very big glove box. Hot shoe is just getting stuck on the top of the glove box opening. So just look at how this door opens. Got vent windows in the back, which is super classy feature in my opinion. Got the armrest as well as door handle to pull the door shut, door handle to get out, window crank for the big window, which operates like this. Same thing. Transmission tunnel isn't any more pronounced back here than it is in the front. It does kind of raise up in a little, bit in the back. Here's what the front looks like from the back. Let's take a quick gander at the greenhouse or the pillar to glass ratio. As you can see with the door open, the pillar lights or the dome lights light up. So there's one there and there's one over there. Two of them, and they're very nicely designed with all this ribbing. No door, yes. There isn't a dome light in the center. But let's take a, as I was saying, this is what the front looks like from the back. Let's take a quick gander at the greenhouse, or the pillar to glass ratio from the back seat. It's really nice and airy, and that's what visibility looks like out the back from the back seat. Huge parcel shelf back there. Let's talk creature comforts. The seat back profile is reclined. The rear of the back of the seat bench does dip down, but with all that said, there is tons of space. I can even put my feet up underneath the seat, giving me even more space. There is an ashtray back here. Smoker's package with the cigarette lighter and ashtray combo. There are not any coat hooks on that side nor this side. But I absolutely love the roof profile, how it comes back. That's really cool. Almost looks like a dog leg. Taking a gander at the trunk situation, just notice how low the load floor is. Alright, taking a quick gander under the hood is the Continental 6 carburetor there with the fuel filter glass bowl variety right there. It's got power steering here, the fan water pump combo, all running off the crankshaft. A generator that runs off of the second belt that's down inside there. 2-belt system. Inside this canister is the oil filter. Got the coil there. This is a windshield washer bottle. Notice no power brakes. This is the original color of the car, the owner was telling me. Everything is easily accessible.
That's right. There's a lot of videos online I think about these Kaisers and how they drive. They were advanced for their time.
It just glides down the road.
See, this dash, that was actually a safety feature that Kaiser came out with. It's a soft head dash. It's still soft.
On the positive side, better than most people will give it credit for. It is a really nice looking, nice riding automobile, and it's different than anything that was on offer by any other company in 1955. Spacious, both front and rear. Huge locking glove box despite the camera not fitting inside of it. Front and rear vent windows, which is a super classy feature that was pretty much gone by 1955 by the rest of the automotive industry. If not 1955, it wasn't very long before that feature totally disappeared. There was enough space inside to wear a stovetop hat while sitting in the car. Great visibility, decent power, and it just glides down the road. The ride is really remarkable for this car. Against it, they are rare. Parts, especially body parts, can be hard to find. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. 2 scenarios today, and these aren't fair, and they might not be in the same price point, but which one would you rather have? 1955 Studebaker Commander, or 1955 Kaiser Manhattan, or 1955 Hudson Hornet. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to the second scenario, 1955 Nash Ambassador, or 1955 Kaiser Manhattan, or 1955 Willis Bermuda. Once again, going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to give the name of the band, song title, and the song lyric that comes next. You need all three today to have your comment pinned to the top of the comment section. Watch my daddy in bed a-dying. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this one. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. Or you could always send me an email at what_it's_like@yahoo.com. Thanks again for everything, and until next time, toodaloo! Welcome to the after show. This part of the video doesn't have any sound or commentary, but it gives you the opportunity to see this car in its entirety, where all the trim goes, what it looks like, and what parts you may need for your restoration project. Enjoy.